So we're going to go ahead. I think I pushed record there. Are we recording?
Okay. Um,
Excellent.
yep, it shows recording on my end.
Oh, perfect. Great. So good morning, Kate. How are you?
But thank you.
Happy Sunday morning.
I
I want to
know.
I want to thank you for joining me and really exploring things of what's important to you and what matters to you. Okay. But before we get started, I'd like to know if it's okay if we do like a small mindfulness. Um,
Absolutely.
Excellent. This is really just going to help our minds get ready and our bodies get ready to kind of, talk through some things today.
Mhm.
So let's do some box breathing. We'll do it
Okay.
twice, okay?
Hmm.
So it's a four count up. I'll go ahead and count and we can breathe together. You can close your eyes, keep them open, whatever helps you to feel most comfortable, okay?
Perfect.
So breathe in. Three, two, one, and hold. Three, two, one. Exhale. Three, two, one, and hold again. Three, two, one. Excellent. Breathe in. Three, two, one, and hold. And exhale. And one more hold. Thank you. How was that for you?
Is good.
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 I'm glad about that. Well, great. Thank you. So I'd like to start off today by asking you, did you happen to get to complete your whole health inventory?
Yep, I did.
Excellent. And how was that experience for you?
Um, I do like it. I think it makes you think about things that you don't stop and always think about on a daily basis and really actually look at them and how you feel about them overall in your life.
Yeah, I can see that you were thinking about things that you usually don't think about,
Mm-hmm.
and had some new stuff come into your mind.
Yep.
Excellent, that's great. So I have a question for you to
Yes,
ask.
ma'am.
Um, what really matters to you? I mean, in your life, what is really matters to you?
I really think that in my life, the biggest thing that matters is I want to work towards, which I have been, work towards living a life. You know how there's that saying like live a life that you don't have to take a vacation from.
Oh,
Not
I
saying
love
I
it.
don't like my vacations to the ocean because I do love the ocean, but I think just, working towards, which I'm not saying I don't already, but there's always change and things that could be done, just living a life that really like I like coming home at the end of the day. I don't mind going to work. Not saying I want to go every day because maybe I'm tired or whatever. Um, but just living a life that I'm okay with, I enjoy with. Not saying I'm content with because I don't always want to be content. I like having things to work for. But just living a life that I enjoy. And, if I can take the time to go on vacation, I want to say, yep, I want to take the time and we can go. And just, not um growing up, I think that like it was kind of not day to day, but you kind of saw the struggles, like I grew up with my grandparents, my siblings, and my mom was there. Um, but she always worked a lot, and we were at home with grandma and grandpa, which I wouldn't trade for anything in the world. But,
Mhm.
just living that life that you're like, no, I'm good. Like we're doing okay. If
Yeah,
we want to go out to eat, we can do that. If we want to plan a small vacation in a few weeks, we can do that, or getaway or something. Just not have to, not so much worries, whether it's financially or mentally or health wise. So,
I like that. So you're looking for some stability.
yeah.
Some
Yeah.
just daily enjoyment, just like
Mhm.
enjoying the day, and
Yeah.
that's a great uh thing that's good for us, enjoying your day every day, not being afraid to go to work, loving what you do,
Yep.
and then just having that stability. It says, hey, you know what, if I want to take off, I can go.
Yeah.
I also heard that you grew up with your family. Your mom
Mhm.
worked a lot, and your grandparents, kind of played that parental role a little bit. Can you tell
Yep.
me more about that?
Um, I mean, my mom was there all the time.
Mhm.
And yeah, my grandma would always say, well, when mom's home, she's in charge, but really, like, yeah, grandpa was in charge. Um, I think that's part of just the reason that, like, part of the reason I am the way I am, you know. Um, and working with like special needs kids and stuff, just being able to help out. Like I love old people too. Um, I could not be a CNA or a nurse. I've attempted both of those and no. But just, that place in your heart for old people too, because,
Yeah,
obviously we're all going to be old someday, but just, it makes you think sometimes of the memories you have and the enjoyment you had with your grandparents. They're both gone
absolutely.
now, so that was really hard when they both passed. Um, and I don't go home as much anymore. I used to go home, once, twice a year, and now my brothers will come visit more often than not. So,
It sounds like you got some values and some morals and some good characteristics, growing up around
oh,
your
absolutely. Oh,
grandparents,
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yep.
And it sounds like, through your exploration of trying different things, that you really found your nick on working around kids and things like that in special needs program,
Hmm.
So, those experiences could kind of like help bring that around for you. How long ago did your grandparents pass? May I ask?
Grandpa passed in 16, and then grandma passed in 20.
Okay, so that wasn't too long ago,
No, no.
5 and 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Um, ha Are there any traditions that you keep up that they had?
Um, no, not really. And like, once I left home at 20 to go to college and stuff, I didn't go home a lot after that.
Hmm.
It was, but like my grandma would call all the time. I'd probably talk to her 3, 4 times a week. So it's just more, um, the memories, I guess. Like, no, there wasn't anything really specific that I do now that they did. Um, just more.
Yeah.
So actually what I did for them is this is where I grew up. It's gonna be upside down. But so I put because on their tombstone when my grandpa passed and my grandma got his tomb, or got his headstone, she put like the farm on it because he was a farmer and he'd grown up on
Oh,
the farm.
neat.
And so for me, that's kind of that's about my only thing that I really got that I put it on there. So the tattoo is exactly what's on their headstone, and it's exactly the farm. Like you come around this corner and you look, and it's exactly that. So that's kind of what I did for them, just because like they did play such a big role in my life, and um,
That's awesome.
that's
And
yeah. So
it
I just kind of carry them around that way.
yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
So
Maybe you have them
yeah.
closer than,
Oh yes,
and
yes,
that's why
because
it's
yeah.
yeah.
Because when my grandma passed, like it was really hard, just because of how close we were. And then I went to my tattoo guy and I'm like, okay, this is what I want. And then he did part of it, and then we went back and we filled in more of it. And I said, and it was like a few months in between. It wasn't a long time in between me going for the first session and then the second session. And I told him, I
Mm.
said, since you put this on my arm, I haven't cried because I would cry every night,
Oh,
just because
wow.
I missed her. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
so
So
yeah,
that tattoo is extremely important. And it
absolutely.
just, I think it could be like a medal for you, or like they're right here. They're
Yeah.
so close. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
especially when I don't live there and I don't ever plan to move back to Minnesota. So
right.
yeah, just kind of carry them with me. Yep.
That's beautiful. I think that's beautiful. And that's an important decision because it's a lifelong decision to think. So to put something on your arm that's permanent. So that's really a very important thing to you, I feel, you
Yep.
know. That's excellent. So what brings you the most joyful, the most happiness in your life?
I think right now, I really enjoy what I do. So I'm switching next year right now. I started in special education, as you know, and then I've been in alternative education for a little while. And like the curriculum is all computer based, so like I don't have to do a whole lot. And in special education, as you know, like you kind of get the freedom to do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Like what are we going to do for ELA? What are we going to do for math? What kind of things do I need? And I really like the challenge of that, like figuring
Hmm.
out reading a kiddo's IEP and then figuring out, okay, what can I do? What can we do to help them with this? So I moved in October down here to Florence by Canyon City.
Okay.
I've been driving back and forth, and then I like what I do up there, and financially it helps me. I do really well. But I started kind of looking around, and then I just happened to get in February an interview and then a job here doing SSN at the middle school next year. So I went in last week and um, kind of met some of the team, met a few of the kiddos, some of the paras, and I was just getting really excited about getting to go back into that, and they're
Hmm.
like, what do you need from us, going into the summer, things like that. And I asked for the IEPs, if I can have them so that like I can start doing that planning. And I
Yeah.
came home one night because I sat at school one day and I was like, okay, what books are we gonna read, for ELA and things. And I came home and I told Josh, I was like, I said it's not a personality change. I said, but definitely like my geeky side's gonna start coming out. And he's like, "What do you mean?" I said, "Because I get to go back to bed and I get to do everything and I get to make the decisions
Yeah.
and I get to plan it all." And he's like, "Okay," one of those like, "Okay," but probably didn't get it. But I'm like, so that is one of the definitely things that is I'm excited about and is important to me. Josh has kiddos and we have them 3 months out of the weekend or
Uh-huh.
3 months, 3 weekends out of the month. So when they're here, I really try to make sure like the what I need done is done before they come, like laundry and things like that. So when they're here, we can just hang out with them and spend time with them. And like yesterday, I took the girls shopping because one of them's going to graduate from middle school this year or elementary to mid, and she'll go to middle. So we went shopping for her outfit for her graduation and, just like I'm not gonna say it was enjoyable to follow her around the store, but like just letting her do it on her own and like not being in there, like, she knew the stipulations, like it can't be too short, it can't show too much, and
Yeah.
just letting her kind of pick out what she wanted. And she tried a lot of stuff on and she found something and she was excited about it. And just getting to see that. And then I got home and the boys were here because there's four kiddos. And the boys, and one of them goes, "Can we go to the thrift store?" So I'm like, "Okay, give me a few minutes, So as him and I went and I let him look and he found some things he wanted. He found a few things for his siblings. So that has become very important. And that's something that not even a year ago, I never like I was about 2 years from buying a motorhome and living with my dogs, and trying to teach online, So my life's quite a bit different in the past 12 to 14 months than what I ever thought it would be. And priorities have definitely obviously changed as well, which isn't bad. I think that
Mhm.
goes back to part of the um living that life that really you don't want a vacation from because I mean, we rent a house. We have to wait, to buy one. Um, we kind of live in town and we like to live in the country, but yet like at night, especially during the week, we'll both come home and I get home late because I do night school, so I don't get home till 8. We kind of have our little routine where we eat dinner together and then we sit down and veg out, usually watching TV or on our phone for about an hour, and
Mhm.
then we'll go to bed. But then we usually have probably 30 to 45 minutes where we just talk about whatever. And
Yeah.
Josh will say, "Man, I really like this." And when he was married, it was a little chaotic. Um, so like I feel I don't think the word is proud, but I feel like I have this feeling of like I'm glad I bring you that peace.
Yeah.
And again, those are two things, the kids and the Josh are things that I didn't think would be in my life, a year ago, year and a half ago. So that has become very important. And I think that kind of goes with the life you don't want that you're okay with, you don't need to vacation from is just knowing that like I can come home and if I don't want to do the dishes because they're all over the place, he is okay with that because he would rather just spend our time together and hang out. So
Yeah.
realize like that's a lot for me because I'm like, I want it to be clean, I want it to be picked up. And he's like, it's okay. It'll be there tomorrow, you know? And
Yeah.
he's like, well, you don't get home till 8 o'clock. So, and I'm like, I know. I'm not gonna stay up till 12. So
Yeah. Yeah.
so yeah.
So I heard a lot of things in there, going back to something you like to do, and I did know this about you, working for a significant needs kids was something that you did, I think, at the high school level, right?
Yep. Yep.
So going into the middle school level, have you ever done middle school?
I did middle school the first year I started in District 2, and
Mhm.
I was a mod needs teacher, but both of our SSN teachers actually quit before Christmas break that year, and
I
that was when
remember
COVID hit too.
that.
So we were actually only in school until March. So there was a good
Yep.
3 to 4 months there that it was kind of doing both because they had long-term subs in there, but they weren't sure what they were doing.
Yeah.
Um,
I remember that.
so
I remember
yeah,
that. Yeah.
yep.
And you went right into the role and you did really well. And so
Yeah,
going
so I
back to
don't, yep, I don't feel apprehensive at all. I've already like, oh my gosh, we can do holidays again. Because like, my other kids, they're kind of like, So
Mhm.
like doing holidays again, and we're gonna start our year off and do Flat Stanley, even though it's more elementary. I'm like, we're gonna do Flat Stanleys. Um, so we're gonna start our year off with reading Flat Stanley and then coloring and making our own and sending them off, and see where they go. Um, so I'm excited. I think it'll be just fine, compared to high
Yeah.
school. You can
It's a
still
new
do the same
beginning, but
fun thing.
not yet,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Different district, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
Canyon
Yeah.
City. Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, you got a lot to look forward to, and a lot of that's makes sense to be so excited about it. But I want to talk too about your new role, you
Yeah.
know, with your family. When you talk about it, you just light up, and you say you were never a mother before, and you kind of got this role, and you're all in. And you
Mm-hmm.
know what? I see that in you. There's no hesitation, and I like how you put the priorities, of the kids first. The dishes can wait, and it's about life. It's about
Mm-hmm.
us being together.
Yep.
And I love that. That is awesome. So quickly, if you don't mind, would you
Yeah.
share with me what you wrote for your map statement, your mission, aspirations, and purpose statement?
Yeah. Um, so for that, there was a lot, but I think like currently in what I'm doing, just came out as kind of like being the best me I can be. And that's more in my home role than my other role because I honestly, I don't worry about my work role. Like I'm, earlier in the year I had to do my observation, right?
Hmm.
And I was at night school and I was talking to a couple of ladies and they're like, "Well, aren't you worried about it?" And I'm like, "No." I'm like, I'm very aware of my value in my job position. I know what I can do. So I don't worry about that. Like I know what I can, I know my value in that position. And so I'm excited, and of course there will be things I'll be like, oh man, but I don't worry so much about that part of it because I know I'll be fine. So kind of what I came up with is just in my home role, doing the best I can and just um, being the person here that maybe the littles don't have at home, that we know they don't have at home. So with some of the struggles that we've seen and stuff. So just being that person for them that says things don't have to be like that. Those are not normal things.
Right.
So
And I
that's
can
my biggest thing is just in the home life, being the person for them that they should have in their other home that they don't.
and I see that's so important to you.
So
Yeah.
yes, yeah, yep.
So, did you think about having a family when you were younger? Was that something that was that of an envision of yours?
I mean, I thought about adopting. I never,
Okay.
I kind of I left home at 20 and I'm the person in the family who kind of does what the hell they want. Like I'm
Are you
going
are you
and
Gemini?
what's that?
Are you a Gemini?
No. Be
Okay.
done in a minute. Go. No, I'm a Capricorn.
Okay. Okay.
But like, yeah, nobody else in my family, like everybody lives within, about
Yeah.
an hour to 30 minutes of each other. And I've always just been like, no, I'm gonna do whatever I want. And so no, I really didn't. I thought about adopting at one point, or maybe doing, like some emergency foster care for like the kiddos I worked with, the population I
Mhm.
worked with. But other than that, no. Like I said, I was quite literally within, putting plans into place to be 2 years from teaching online and just living in a motorhome with the doggies, and we did what we wanted.
Yeah. And now your life has changed
Oh
and you
yeah,
seem to be all in and you're ready to go and
yep,
that's okay with you. It doesn't have to be something that you envisioned earlier.
exactly.
Um, our time has come to an end, and we really haven't got through some of the other questions I'd like to
Mhm.
ask you. But from the time that we have spent together, what are what are you getting out of this? What did you get out of our session today? Can you
Um,
summarize it?
just reflecting on how much things have changed in such a short period of time, but it hasn't. It's weird to me, people, just people I work with or like friends or whatever, they'll be like, oh, like my sister-in-law, she'll call and check in, your brother did this, he's such a pain in my ass, kind of thing sometimes. And that we in a year, like there has not been one squabble, one fight. And sometimes I wonder, like, are we weird? Are we odd? Kind of thing. Like, um, because we both just kind of go with the flow, So just kind of the reflecting on that of how much things have changed, but changed for the better. And there's been a lot of negative relationships I've been in, both friendships and romantic relationships, and just reflecting on how good this is. And
Mhm.
so a lot of that, just, reflecting and saying things out loud that you think about, but maybe don't say out loud. And then when you say them out loud, they
Yeah,
have new meaning.
right, right. You know, change is inevitable, right?
Mm,
And it sounds like you're in a great place. It sounds like you've learned lessons over your life through your experiences, and you really do know what makes you happy and joyful. And you're embracing that, and that's great. That is great. Well, I hope to go over some more questions later on at another visit. But thank you so much for today. Thank you
Thank
for coming
you.
in and sharing with me and being so open. I appreciate that.
Absolutely. You have a good rest of your day. It was good to
You,
see you.
you too. Thank you so much.
Yep. Bye.